I call to order the September 24th, 2025 Area Board of Zoning Appeals of Tippecanoe meeting. First item on the agenda is the roll call.
Steve Clevenger.
Present.
Gary Schroeder.
Present.
Kim Vanderplaat.
Present.
Robert Novak.
Present.
Brad Halberg.
Present.
Ed Butts.
Present.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of the last meeting minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the August 27th, 2025 ABZA public hearing as submitted.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved as submitted. New business.
All three cases are ready to go, although in order for BZA 2204 to be heard, BZA 2211 will have to be heard first. So we'll need to swap those.
And based on the order that we have in our packets, we'll move 2211 to the top because I don't think those two cases will take. I don't think any of the cases will take that long.
Agreed.
I will go ahead and take the public hearing motion, please.
I move that there be incorporated into the public hearing portion of each application to be heard this evening and to become part of the evidence at such hearing, the Unified Zoning Ordinance, the Unified Subdivision Ordinance, the Comprehensive Plan, the bylaws of the Area Board of Zoning Appeals, the application and all documents filed therewith, the staff report and recommendation on the applications to be heard this evening, and responses from the checkpoint agencies.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to briefly describe our procedures for this evening. Each case will be heard following a motion and a second from the board. We will ask the staff to report on its findings. Following the staff report, we will ask the petitioner to present his or her case, after which anyone wishing to support the petitioner's request for a variance or special exception will be asked to come forward. After hearing from the petitioner and those speaking on his or her behalf, we will ask those speaking against the petition to present their arguments. The petitioner will then be allowed to rebut arguments raised by those in opposition to his or her petition. Following the rebuttal, the board may wish to ask questions of the petitioner, supporters, and opponents of the petition or of the staff. The staff will have the opportunity at this time to make any necessary clarifying comments. We will then vote by use of the prescribed ballot. 4 votes are necessary to make any decision. In the absence of 4 votes, either for or against, petition is automatically continued to the next meeting. Please observe the following guidelines for the sake of time and fairness to all. State your name and address for the record before you speak. There is a sign-in sheet for those that are not the petitioner. Sign in at the staff desk if you are speaking. Please limit remarks to 5 minutes or less. Excuse me. Do not repeat arguments that have been brought up by others. Remember that all visual aids used to support your arguments will remain the property of the board. Cell phones must be turned off while the meeting is in session. Please step out of the room before using your cell phone. With that in mind, we will hear the first 2 cases.
I move to hear together and vote on separately BZA 2211, Select Towers 2 LLC. Petitioner with consent of owner Adam Sheff requests a variance to reduce the required front setback from South River Road of 40 feet to 12 feet 5 inches for an 8-foot tall fence and telecommunication cabinets. The subject site is a 3,200 square foot lease area of a 22.839 acre tract located just southeast of the intersection of South 350 West and South River Road, Wabash 27 Southeast, 23-5, UZO 4-2-2, and BZA 2204, Select Towers 2 LLC. Petitioner, with consent of owner Adam Sheff, requests a special exception to permit a primary communications tower, SIC 4812, operating 24 hours per day, 7 days per week in the A zone. The subject site is a 3,200 square foot lease area of a 22.839 acre tract located just southeast of the intersection of South 350 West and South River Road, Wabash 27 Southeast 23-5, UZO 3-2-6, continued from the August ABZA meeting in order to file a necessary variance request.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, and we'll hear from staff, please.
Good evening, Christine Rail, APC staff. So we are South River Road. Was recently rezoned from R1 to A, and you can see there's quite a bit of floodplain, just the small area that is not floodplain and zoned A, and then you have R1 to the north of it. Let's see, up close, just the site. And then the site plan. So they are requesting to be a little bit closer, 12.5 feet away from the road so that they can get all of their fencing and the communications tower and some cabinets in there. And another site plan. Let's see. So a lot of it's surrounded by the floodplain that's associated, we obviously know, with the Wabash River. The site, as I already said, the farm field, but it's also near Fort Weatnan is adjacent. You guys know that. South River Road is designated as the Wabash River Scenic Byway. However, the byway restricts signs. It does not restrict cell towers, cellular communication towers. And due to the fact that this is a self-imposed hardship, our facts and findings, we do have to recommend denial on the variance. However, we do support the cell tower itself. And here's some photos. You can see the field. They did get their sign up. There's a pretty good buffer yard of trees along South River Road, and a few more photos. And we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Petitioner or his or her representative.
Good evening. My name is Brian Ramirez for Select Towers. As she had stated, we are looking to do a wireless communications facility in this area. There was something a little different. The site plan, we changed that and moved the tower outside of the 40-foot restricted area. So that is not what we're asking for. Okay. So it's a little bit different than we had actually moved it on that, further south to keep it outside of the 40-foot setback area. So the tower itself is not in question. It's just the fencing and then equipment cabinets for the variance. We're trying to keep it in an area obviously outside of the floodplain. The owner, Mr. Sheffy, actually leases space here to the adjacent property for the festival, the Feast of the Harvest Moon Festival every year. So we're trying to keep it in an area so that cars can be parked there and not out in the middle of anything, and keep, just keep it away from everybody else. There are trees along the road, like she said. There are power poles with cabinets and equipment out on the other side in the right-of-way. I think we have screening all the way around the area. We also are going to be putting in hunter green slats at the base of the tower. And all I'm talking about is the variance. Is that it, or you want me to talk about? Okay.
Both cases are on
Okay,
the floor right
perfect.
now, so you can go ahead and talk about both of
I'll
them.
be brief then. The tower is originally going to be designed to handle 4 carriers. The initial carrier will be AT&T. AT&T will also be providing FirstNet. I don't know if you know what FirstNet is. It's public safety, EMS, police, fire, local, state, federal government, dedicated encrypted network, and then they will also have the Department of Defense on there, okay? So those are the original 3 networks that will be on the tower. Because of the airport that's in the area, we are restricted to where we can go because of the runways cross, and we're fitting in kind of in the middle of that location. We are restricted in height. And what we did is we went ahead and kept it below the height that they allowed so that we don't have to put a light on the tower. So there will be no lighting on the tower. It is a 145-foot monopole with a 5-foot lightning rod. That's basically it. We have power, fiber optics, no water, no sewage. And that's all I have. Do you have any other questions?
We may have some in a minute for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the petition? Anyone in opposition to the petition? Questions, comments from the board? Go ahead, Robert.
Petitioner? Back to the site plan, please. Are the cabinets going to be closer to the road or on the far side?
They will be closer to there's going to be the tower itself is actually going to be closer to the south portion of the site plan. So straight south. And with that, we will have cabinets on each side. Initially just one, but then for future, cabinets would go in around the tower to the north and to the west of the tower. The AT&Ts will be to the east of the tower, directly east, but on this side. Yeah, the one that's on the lower right-hand side is where AT&T is going.
When you talk about the cabinet, what type of obstacle, basically, if something would happen, a vehicle would leave the road and come into that area? The fence is somewhat collapsible, but the cabinets, to what type of obstacle, are they embedded in cement or what type of obstacle are we looking at?
Okay, so regarding the tower, you're not asking about the tower, right?
No.
Just the cabinets. Okay, so the cabinets are, generally speaking, they all do little different designs for what they do, but they are outdoor cabinets. They're about the size of a refrigerator, about 6 foot, 7 foot tall, and about this wide. And they usually have like 2 of them. AT&T has a 7-foot wide walk-up cabinet, so there'll be a little stairway. It's set on a platform, a steel platform. In this case, they're setting up a little higher because of it's in a floodplain area. Well, we're not in a floodplain, but because it floods in the area, it will be set up about 4 feet. They do footers, cement footers, and it's steel like I-beam footers that go into the concrete. That's what supports it. Now, there's other ones like Verizon, they put in like a concrete pad, sometimes they do an elevated pad, steel frame. T-Mobile does a platform usually too, similar to AT&T.
Then on the picture here, where would South River Road be? Would it be towards the bottom of the screen, the top?
Towards the top.
Towards the top.
Correct. And we'll be feeding, and you see, I guess, up here in the northeast corner, right there, that is where our That's where our utilities come in, so that's where the meter bank is, and the fiber optic cabinet will be there. And then just on the other side of that, there's power poles that run down the road, and that's where we will be getting our power underground from there. There's a power pole literally right there.
Thank you.
A couple of questions. Is this an up-to-date site plan? I mean, just wanting to make sure.
Yes, the variance is requested for the fence and the cabinets, so
Okay.
it's.
I mean,
up-to-date
it's a
site plan.
tower shown in the right location, though, on this site plan.
Yes, we
Okay.
have, as far as.
I just want
we
no,
understand-
it's
not. No, it's not.
No, it's not?
No. So we moved the tower so that we could be outside the 40-foot
Right.
location. So the only thing we're asking for a variance for is the fence and any future cabinets that may go inside of the compound.
For staff, is there,
So is
Ryan?
this site plan that you're seeing here is not the most up-to-date site plan?
No,
Okay.
no.
Because the special exception is, well, both are bound to a site plan, so we're going to need an amended site plan.
I did amend the site plan, it's just not up here.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yep.
Okay.
or you can pass that around?
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
it's just the old
I've got
version
a
of the
couple
site
more
plan.
questions anyway, so. Is the fence far enough away from the pole? I mean, is there a requirement for how far the fence has to be if for instance, if the pole was moved? I just want to make sure, it just has to encompass the area.
No, there's not a
There's not? Okay.
setback for the fence from the pole.
It just has to encompass all the equipment. And you're not doing anything with the vegetation there along River Road?
No,
I mean, that's going to be
we are
left
not.
there, so that will, if a car runs off the road, they're going to hit the trees and
Yeah,
vegetation.
and we're gonna
first.
put some bollards around where the pad mounted transformer would be. So there'll be bollards around that to
Okay.
protect if someone was to come off the road there.
And I don't remember from the staff report, are there any improvements to the road that goes in?
Yes.
I mean, is that paved or is that gravel?
Well, we're proposing a white rock commercial
Okay.
grade type of road. So we'll dig down, put in the riprap, put in the stone, the fabric and everything, and we'll have it so that it drains properly and all of that. And we normally do white rock from the road. Currently, it's like, I think it's dirt and grass. It's just grass currently.
Yeah.
So we are going to improve that, yes. And we need to be able to bring in, for construction purposes, bring in heavy equipment at that point.
Okay.
And this is and just as another sidebar here too, I did speak with Brooke Sauter from the Tippecanoe Historical Society that heads up the Feast of the Hunter's Moon Festival. She's very much in support of this because they have no service down there. They can't use their credit cards. I mean, she even said, we may be based in the 1800s, but we need 2025 technology because they cannot run, they can't spend money. People can't spend money there. Plus, they need service, she said, for safety and things like that. So she's very welcoming. She did tell me she was going to send a letter, but I don't believe she did, so.
Any other questions or comments? And I'm assuming that site plan that you have, that you're passing around is sufficient so that we don't need to,
Yes.
they don't need to submit anything new.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? And I'm assuming that, or go ahead, Gary, sorry.
Well, since it seems to me like he pulled out the setback for the pole location, so we're just hearing a fence and box of setback. I just wonder if the staff changed their recommendation, because I believe that has a negative recommendation, if I'm reading that right, if I'm on the right case.
It's a self-imposed hardship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
simple answer is no. Okay.
Yeah, it's a self-imposed hardship according to the facts and findings, so we had to recommend denial.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
And any other questions? And it's my understanding that we need to vote on the variance first. If that is approved, then we'll vote on the special exception.
Correct.
You've got a ballot.
Six ballots cast, all 6 yes votes.
Variance has been granted, and we can now vote on the special exception.
Six ballots cast, 6 yes votes.
The special exception has been granted as well. We'll hear our last case.
I move to hear and vote on BZA 2210 Fairway Cooperative Association Incorporated. Petitioner and owner, represented by Kevin J. Riley of RTS Law, requests a variance to allow a maximum height of 17 feet at the finished floor of the upper story instead of the maximum allowed 14 feet on Lot 3 of Tower Acres, Part 3, commonly known as 1320 David Ross Road, West Lafayette, Wabash 13, Southeast 23-5, UZO 2-10-11.
I second.
Have a motion and a second, and we'll hear from staff, please. Nathan?
Nathan McBurnett, APC staff. We're here on the very western extent of Purdue University. We have the Ackerman Allen Golf Course there to the west, Phi Kappa Psi, Delta Upsilon, and the Purdue Rec Fields all surrounding to the east and south. The property zone R3W, as are some of the adjacent properties, but most of this area is zoned A since it's Purdue-owned property, state-owned property. Just close up, it's Fairway Cooperative, was built around 2002. It's a Christian all-male cooperative. The variance that they are requesting is just kind of a slight increase from the standards, so I think it's a 3-foot variance. In R3W, the height is measured in a kind of peculiar way compared to the other zones. You take the average of the ground floor area, as you can see, because you have 2 different ground floors basically here, and then it's up to the lowest elevation of the highest finished floor. So this is something that's been a matter of debate for decades, honestly, and staff has advocated for this specific type, way that we measure height to be changed. We're actually going to be discussing this more in the administrative officers meeting this week on Thursday, and that change will, fingers crossed, move forward to where not only the height standard is increased in this zone, but it's measured in a way that's consistent with the rest of the zones. So again, some elevations. It's an addition. The site plan Staff visited the site, some pictures, they've got their sign up as they are instructed to. And, oh, that's the petitioner's presentation. Staff considers this to be an ordinance-imposed hardship. As I said, with how we measure height, all of the surrounding buildings in the area either received a height variance or were built prior to the current UZO in 1998, so all buildings are taller than what is being requested, consistent or taller. And then most of the other development we get in this part of town are planned developments, which are generally much, much taller. So to be consistent with the surrounding development, we are recommending approval. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Petitioner, his or her representative.
Good evening, Kevin Riley, attorney with RTS Law, representing the petitioner. The purpose of the addition that's going in is to house an additional 60 residents. There's a lot of demand for this particular location, and so the need for the new addition. The variance will allow for the roof on the new addition to be flush or equal in height to the existing roof. We agree with the staff's report and believe that the reasons that they've set forth in their report support this request for a variance, and happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the petition? Anyone in opposition? Questions, comments from the board? Hearing none, we've got a ballot.
Six ballots cast, 6 yes votes.
That variance passes as well. Any administrative matters? We have none. Unless any member has an objection, the chair will order the findings of each member casting a vote for the majority decision of the board to be the collective findings of the board in support of the decision of the board. Hearing none, it is so ordered. And I'll take the last motion, please.
I move to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you. Beautiful. 27 minutes.